Hi, everyone. Welcome to our session this evening or morning, depending on where you are. My name is Stephen. So I'm part of the Landers team over here. I'll have Farley and Fiona introduce themselves. So maybe I'll pass it over to Farley quickly first, maybe for a quick introduction.
Thanks, Stephen. I'm Farley Blackman. I'm the CEO of YBF Ventures. We're an innovation hub located in Melbourne and in Sydney in Australia.
Hi, everyone. I'm Fiona Kirkman.
And over to you, Fiona.
Hi, everyone. I'm Fiona Kirkman, CEO of FamilyProperty, and we've been part of the Lander Rogers LawTech Hub powered by YBF in Sydney. So pleased to be part of this panel today.
Thanks, Fiona. So I guess today our agenda for our virtual tour will describe a little bit about who we are and what we do for our respective firms. Why is legal tech important and a little bit more about that. Tell you a little bit about the LawTech Hub itself, the space, the features, the properties, the program that we run with them. And we have a chance to speak with Fiona, who's kind of been in part of the LawTech Hub and have experience with it, as well as a virtual kind of video tour of the LawTech Hub in YBF Sydney, where Farley is currently sitting at right now. So quickly, Lander and Rogers, we're a mid-sized national law firm. We're about 500 staff, 70 of those are partners. Really focused on the Eastern Seaboard for local service, but we're internationally connected through our partner network in Terralex. We founded the LawTech Hub about 2 years ago, where we house startups and scale-ups related to the legal field. There's 2 hubs, one in Melbourne, which we started about 2 years ago, which is based out of YBF in Melbourne, and as well as one in Sydney, where Farley is right now. That's been running for the last year. But like most things, we've gone completely virtual last year. So we have both space, but we also have a basically a running program that we do with our cohorts. I'll pass it back over to Farley and talk about YBF and get you a little bit more of an idea of what they do.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. YBF really has the goal of helping startups and scale-ups to succeed, helping corporates to innovate, and generally helping the ecosystems, especially around tech and innovation, to thrive in Australia. You know, we do that through a couple things. One is we have anchor spaces in both Melbourne and in Sydney and growing from there. 2 is we offer programs where we help entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs create basically great tech, turning tech disablers into tech enablers for businesses, or tech disruptors, I should say. And we also really work with the corporates to think through things and act differently by accessing startups and scale-ups that they might not normally have access to. So we've been partnering with Lander and Rogers now for just over 2 years on the LawTech Hub. And as Stephen said, we've gone from really a space-enabled approach to a bit more virtual in the past year due to COVID. And I think we'll see a hybrid of that as we come out of COVID. So I think I'll leave it at that for now, and I'll speak with you guys in a little bit.
Thanks, Farley. And so the LawTech Hub, so I guess, why is it there? What is it doing? And why are people like Fiona interested in joining? So what we've done is we've started to create this program, and like you said, it's still an ever evolving one, a little bit changing as we get every new startup in. We're kind of collecting and adjusting about how we do it. But I guess when we started to look at the market here, especially here in Australia, there was a bit of a gap in the marketplace, right? So there's all sorts of great ideas, legal tech emerging, and we'd sometimes congregate when there were big events, but everybody would kind of just fade away and do their own thing afterwards. So we wanted to create a nexus point in partnership with YBF to actually create physical hubs that startups, scale-ups, that are related to the solving interesting business problems that are related to our legal field, put them together and really, I guess, bring a community together and build an ecosystem off of that. I think that was the one standing pillar, like it was really missing from, I guess, the Australian landscape. So hopefully this is kind of our stake in the ground and planting that seed to help proliferate and propagate legal tech. And hopefully places like FamilyProperty, where Fiona kind of runs, really fosters from that multiplied benefit of many different startups coming together to do that. So our LawTech Hub, we talked a little bit about it earlier, is, it's dedicated space should you need it. So it's dedicated space. You can put your bum in a seat at YBF. They have some beautiful spaces in the CBD for Melbourne and Sydney. And today we'll take you through a quick video tour of Sydney. We provide legal support. So, you have the backing of a substantial law firm to help flesh out the ideas, look at how tools are being used, and provide a little bit of feedback and engage with it on what works in the marketplace, what works for our clients, what works for us as individuals, and really be able to iterate on some of the ideas that startups have, like great ideas that startups have, but how do you actually scale that out to something wider? You have local industry ecosystem support. So that's backed by things like our mentors, backed by partners that we have. I mean like our industry partners. If you need insurance, if you need some kind of IP protection, we have a connected network that also is heavily involved in our LawTech Hub program, as well as pitching support, looking opportunities for investment raising. And I think one of the best things from doing this is that we actually don't take any capital from the startups to do it, right? We are a zero equity program. And so our aim is really to, I guess, foster that community and build up the startups and not be a hindrance by, trying to hold something back of value from them. So I guess that's kind of where we're looking to grow the environment, and we see a lot of good similar programs that are starting to pop up in the Australian market, and hoping to think that imitation is the best sign of flattery. But I'll let maybe the video that Christine is about to play kind of speak for a little bit of our program experience.
The thing I've learned now about a startup is it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And without that support, you're not going to finish.
My name is Elisa. I'm the founder of Paycheck.
I'm Sam Loveridge, and I'm the co-founder of Legal Tech Hub.
And being a new resident of the Lander Rogers and YBF Ventures LawTech Hub, there's been a lot going on in Lara.
We're hoping to work with as many partners and as many mentors as possible to make sure that our app can be the most comprehensive and really cover everyone's needs as best as possible.
We were really excited to be given the opportunity to join the Lander and Rogers LawTech Hub. They are an award-winning firm for workplace culture, and that aligned with us strategically at Elka.
I was working with Landers and Rogers a little bit beforehand. We started chatting. I learned on how much or how well they're doing this already with their network and how well they're managing the referrals and their relationships globally. They are a national firm, right? But they have a global reach.
It's especially interesting to me to be involved with people in the legal industry who understand the problems that the industry is facing, but also having the appetite for risk to change those problems in a different way. I think there's a lot of value in surrounding yourself with people like that.
We were naturally speaking to law firms about this technology quite some time back, and we came across Landers and Rogers through YBF. And so we were talking to them about this technology and how it could assist them, and they were of course very interested. And then they mentioned, hey, we have this LawTech Hub. And so we thought, wow, that's great. We could join this LawTech Hub, work with Lander and Rogers more closely, and also interact with other companies and individuals in the LawTech space. And we saw it as a great chance to really help develop this technology in this environment.
They also provide really strategic and simple and intelligent legal advice. And they've given us access to a great network of all kinds of resources, things like accounting, marketing, insurance, and also the network of peers and other founders that are part of the program.
I think it's a really exciting time to be a part of sort of the legal tech space at the moment. You're finding now more and more really smart people trying to solve really difficult problems and creating really valuable companies in legal tech.
The LawTech Hub is an amazing opportunity. We love that Lander and Rogers are fostering that collaboration between legal professionals and the tech entrepreneurs. We're also excited to be working closely alongside Lander and Rogers, who are a leading national family law firm, to enhance family property with the feedback we get from them, and also to scale up the business.
I think the thing that attracted us to LawTech Hub was the fact that there is this really strong emerging community of legal technology companies in Australia. We're fortunate to have been around for a couple of years, and so we can lead that community. So we wanted to join the hub because we saw an opportunity to position ourselves at the forefront of something that is changing the way that law is practiced.
It's a rapidly evolving market, and on the other end of it, you're seeing law firms which are more traditionally risk averse start to embrace technology. And so what really attracted us to be part of the LawTech Hub is to be a part of a community like that. And it's great to see Lander and Rogers really champion it and be at the forefront of it all.
We're really fortunate that the hub is being supported by Lander and Rogers. I think that for us, the opportunity to be in a space knowing that it's got the backing of a significant and established law firm is a mark that the industry is taking this seriously. That they recognise that the future of legal services is technology driven, and to the extent that we can be a part of that we can lead that, we're excited to be here.
And we hope to learn a lot from them on the way and how they do it, because this is exactly kind of the firms we want to empower to stand up to much bigger ones.
Hello, I'm Jane Hume. I'm the Assistant Minister for Financial Services, Superannuation and Financial Technology. We know that the last few months have been a really challenging time for the startup community in Australia, and that's what makes it even more exciting to see these 9 great new companies pushing through and entering the LawTech Hub today. Innovation hubs like YBF have been vital to building the success of our tech sector, and not just across law tech, but also reg tech and fintech, which are ecosystems that are intricately linked to one another. Australia, I believe, does lead the world in idea creation, but we have a lot of work to do when it comes to collaboration and commercialisation and bringing your incredible ideas to market. The LawTech Hub is at the centre of that work, bringing together unique expertise to help you collaborate and grow using your mentors and partners like Lander and Rogers. It's also a pertinent time, I think, to be focusing on the law tech sector, especially as the COVID lockdown has driven all of us to find new and innovative ways to digitise products and services right across the economy. It's really important that our innovation hubs remain strong as we emerge from this pandemic. And I wish you all the best for your journey and for the year ahead.
We're all being impacted by disruption and change. I teach law students who are going to actually work in that new world that is evolving now. Landers has chosen not to look inwards, but to look outwards.
Compassionate, engaged people in the law are melding with really smart, excited people in the tech industry. I'm going to officially say, this is open.
change is an important part of Lander's response. The creation of Australia's first dedicated LawTech Hub.
Welcome back. So if you found that exciting and interesting, let me tell you a little bit more about the program itself. So I break it up into 4 kind of key components. The first is just having the resident program. That's where you spend 6 months embedded inside YBF and then partnered alongside some of the team from Lander and Rogers. And this is kind of where we work through your aspirations and what you're looking to achieve out of this stint with us, right? Whether it's testing yourself for the market or getting ready to actually scale up, getting ready to actually launch into new markets, we kind of customize that program according to your needs and your ambition. So that's that 6-month program that you become a resident with that LawTech Hub. It's supported by the second element, which are mentors. So our mentors are a few of the most prominent like successful startups that they're the CEOs that actually have taken that idea and made it come to life and are now making money from it, right? So they're a real success story, and you have someone there to help groom and guide your organization, your own path into getting it off the ground. So that's kind of our mentors there. We have our partners, which I spoke about earlier. So if you have a need that's maybe not legal, maybe not something you would do, because normally a lot of our founders are, either technical based or come from a business background. They may not have all the tools they need to actually run a company, right? And that's not I guess that's not new for people that haven't run a company before. If you need an accountant, if you need someone that can help you do a little bit of marketing and a bit of brand protection, we have those partners kind of involved as well. And then lastly, it's the program itself. So that 6 months is a structured program from start to finish on, I guess, tailored to what your personal needs are, but in there's some information sessions that we get involved. We have some community events. There's news, and maybe I'll pass it over to YBF for Farley to talk about some of the additional perks that you actually get with as being part of a YBF member.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. It's an interesting collaboration between Lander and Rogers and YBF. Lander and Rogers is, a very thought-forward company. It is thinking about, as I said earlier, as tech as a disruptor, actually being tech as an enabler, and I think that's quite important. And the company is always looking at trying to do things differently and to reinvent law actually before it actually even needs to be reinvented. YBF is unique in this space as well. We're certainly unique in Australia and across Asia Pacific. There are similar models in Europe and the States at this point. What makes YBF unique and special and how that gets translated into the LawTech Hub is a couple ways. One is the YBF team is quite diverse. We have gender parity across the team. Although we're a small team, we represent 5 different countries and speak 8 different languages. And more importantly, we come from a variety of backgrounds. So myself, I'm a ex-senior executive from the likes of BP, British Petroleum, Motorola, and GE. We have financial experts from General Electric and Wesfarmers here. We have innovation experts from PwC and the AT&T Ericsson Hub. We have founders that have started companies and exited them successfully. We have folks that are experts on social media content and marketing, and especially marketing for small companies that don't have the budget. So when you combine the expertise and the forward thinking of Lander and Rogers with the special sauce of YBF, you end up with a place where we're really looking to nurture, work together, and collaborate. So a lot of the things that Stephen said, are things that we both do. So when it comes to mentoring, if you need help with marketing, we're there. If you need someone to help on navigating procurement in a big organization, we have that. I used to be head of procurement for BP. We have folks that have been CFO of some of the world's largest companies. So when you put all that expertise together and you get amazing founders and amazing startups and amazing scale-ups together, and you do it in a curated manner, the magic really does happen. It doesn't happen by itself, but it happens because we've combined all those ingredients together and stirred the pot properly, and out hopefully pops some great success and innovation.
Don't take our word for it. So alongside us, we have Fiona Kirkman, who's part of FamilyProperty. She's been through the journey, had spent 2 terms with us. It's been great to see how FamilyProperty, not just the product has grown, but how the founders have really taken this idea and really evolved it and actually made it a lot more comprehensive in the family law space. But I'll let her speak about it, and she is not paid to say these things. So over to you, Fiona. Tell us a little bit about FamilyProperty.
Thanks, Stephen. So really our vision with FamilyProperty has been to empower families to resolve family law issues more efficiently and amicably. FamilyProperty, the idea came from Professor Patrick Parkinson, who approached me as a family law expert with my techie husband, Tim, to really develop that idea into a product. So we come from that couple in law and technology, and really our aim has been to build an expert system in family law that could work across the whole family law ecosystem. So we've really initially gone quite deep in family law, financial and property settlements. We saw a lot of problems in the way things are being done by way of gathering information and documents, disclosure, putting together a balance sheet, and then document generation. And where there's a lot of repetition, we saw there's a lot of opportunity for automation. So we really aim to help family law professionals at this stage automate the admin, freeing them up to really do hopefully the work they love and focus on that value add for clients. So we've really focused on, at the moment, family law firms and as well as family law mediators, but we also have some enterprise clients, Legal Aid New South Wales contract last year, which was exciting, as well as a number of family relationship centres. And this year we've got big plans, a parenting component to the product, and maybe opening up to the wider ecosystem, including separated families. So it's been a big project, a lot of challenge, but it's been great to be part of the LawTech Hub.
That's amazing. I can't wait to see what's ahead, because I think when I started, as I alluded to earlier, when we started to get a preview of the FamilyProperty product, it was pretty good just on its own, and now there's another bunch of bolt-ons to what they're already offering. So I guess let's start the journey all the way back to the beginning. How did you get involved with the LawTech Hub? Tell us a little bit about your experience there. You were based out of the Sydney YBF offices, and just tell a little bit more about your experience.
Yes, so I think we launched FamilyProperty in the market in March 2019. We quickly started to get traction, but we realised, having a great idea and then developing a product, there's a whole heap of work in the business structure, investment, boards, commercialization, that product market fit, target markets, marketing, sales, etc. We were starting to pitch to law firms like Lander Rogers, and we were approached in, I think, September 2019 to join the LawTech Hub. And we really saw it as an opportunity to really widen our network, gain that restructure for growth, look at scaling up and working with the Lander and Rogers family law and relationship group to really get some feedback on the product, look at enhancements, look at product market fit, and really, you know, a roadmap for the business. So we joined in October 2019. We had the benefit of working closely with Stephen, who's in the digital and business sort of unit, innovation unit at Lander and Rogers, as well as a family law specialist or in the family law team, Kate Greenwood, which has been great to have those fortnightly meetings just to check in, see how we're going with the product. So that was sort of term one, that was our focus, but term two really expanded and they brought on these mentors and partners, as Stephen has talked about, and we've really plugged into that network of lawyers and financial advisors and sales and marketing experts, and we grew significantly last year by way of business. And yeah, working with Lander and Rogers and also YBF, they've been really helpful with the seminars they've run, the marketing, videos, etc. we've done. So both organisations have really been helpful in our journey.
And so I guess for maybe some of the other startups kind of tuning in, or maybe others that have an idea like you did with FamilyProperty, like what advice would you give them to, you know, to actually start that or kind of begin to foster their own process of building their startup?
Yeah, as I think that video, I sort of chuckled a little. It's a marathon, not a sprint. There is some unique challenges to running a startup. Bootstrapping is interesting when you go from a lawyer role to a CEO of a startup. And I think it's not just having a great idea and having a great product. It's really, how are you going to commercialize and sell that product? Is there a real problem that you're addressing, or multiple problems that you're addressing, and how are you going to address that in a way that is adopted by the law firms, mediators, etc. So I think it is a journey, and I know for me as a CEO, coming from like a family lawyer, family mediator role thrown into all things business and security and tech, it has been great to collaborate with people in the Lander and Rogers and YBF and really look at increasing my business skills and the team's business skills as we grow and scale. So yeah.
And what was your favorite part?
Favorite part? I liked the networking, the face-to-face networking when we did the opening launch event. I always like the champagne in hand and meeting lots of people. Unfortunately, a lot of that hasn't occurred last year with COVID, but I think really working alongside like our little group meetings every fortnight's been great, and tapping into those mentors. I think some of the mentors and partners we've spoken to have really helped us through, you know, decisions that we have to make, good and bad ones, and how to grow. So I think it's definitely been a worthwhile experience.
I think that puts your point of where Farley had said we have to find some kind of compromise between the hybrid, like virtual offering versus like the complete physical offering, because we're missing all those like the champagne moments, right? And
it's also good for me.
This is something else. With kids in the background and running around.
Yes.
Great. I'll just quickly check if there's any other questions for Fiona.
You had a couple of questions around advice to give law firms when they're considering legal tech. I liked that question because the three things we often say to law firms, and I know there's a number of law firms, is really be open to change. With COVID, we've realised that there is change that's thrust upon us very quickly, but you need to invest time to change and implement legal tech. It will take time, but it's worth that investment for the long term. It's important also, secondly, to find a champion within your firm or organisation that can lead that change, that can be that point of call between the legal tech provider and your staff, etc., to answer the question who loves technology, and then to invest in training and setting up the tech properly, not just to go, it's a shiny new tool, but really to invest in how this can help solve some of the pain points of your firm. So I think those were the three sort of tips I had for law firms as they look at considering legal tech for their.
Thank you. I almost forgot those questions.
That was my last one.
Just reminded me how patient Fiona and Tim were with us, and really, some days it felt like we were going nowhere. And even though 6 months is, when you're in it, it's a very, very short amount of time, but it elapses so quickly.
And it's really important to get that feedback that like startups take a very client-centric approach to their roadmap, and to have that ongoing feedback is really important. So we really appreciated that as we grew the company and the product.
So, and then last question then is, why do you think supporting startups and disruptive legal technologies is important, especially in our ecosystem here?
Yeah, so as I said, it's a challenge. It's a marathon being a startup, and really, I think you don't have all of the skills in a legal tech, like the legal expertise and the tech expertise is really what Tim and I as founders brought to the table. But we really needed to work on how to commercialize the product, marketing, sales, business. There's so many skill sets that you need to have, and to tap into Lander and Rogers, to tap into YBF and their support network, business network, as we moved into that commercialization and growth phase, was so imperative for us. And I think that's really been, it's really important to support the startups, because it is hard, and we're trying to make things better for providing more access to justice, making things easier for lawyers so that you're doing the work you love, etc. So our heart's in the right place to help you as law firms, and we really to get that support from a particularly business perspective is really helpful.
Amazing. Any questions? I guess I'll check the question to see if there's any questions, or if Farley has anything to add to the interview there.
Yeah, I think while we're waiting for questions, I'll just make a couple comments, I guess. Startups and scale-ups account for such a large portion of jobs in any economy. And it's just generally important to help startups and scale-ups to grow and succeed. And whether it's in the legal industry or any other industry, because they form really the fundamental part of the economy. So I think it's great that this approach is being taken, especially in the legal area. And what's unique and nice about it as well is that as you grow a startup and a scale up, you need help on legal. I mean, and it's one of the things that actually a lot of companies don't think about when they're first starting. So having a LawTech Hub that helps legal tech companies to grow, but also reaches out to the broader startup and scale up community so that they can understand why legal help and the technology around it is so important to their future success. So it's a real circular approach to helping the ecosystem thrive. And that's, I think, one of the things that's quite exciting.
Yeah, amazing. So I'll guess Christine to tee up the virtual tour so you can actually see the beautiful space that we have down at YBF Sydney. I think a lot of the comments that both Farley and Fiona kind of mentioned would also be reflected by Michelle Grossman, who couldn't make it to our session today. She is just away on a personal matter, but it's really, it's not an individual that builds you up. It's a whole network that's required, and everyone's got a different specialty and expertise, and that's where this whole network kind of comes into full force at the Sydney LawTech Hub. Let's get it going. Thanks, Christine. So the video just does a little bit of justice. If you are in Sydney, please find a way to come visit, because I think the video doesn't actually sell how nice the space is. Before I ask Farley to see if there's anything he wants to highlight about YBF in Sydney, there are not just us as a LawTech hub there are a few other hubs in there. And when you saw it a little bit empty on an empty tour, but when there are people there, it is a really special environment, I think, to be part of, and having spent a little bit of time there myself. Farley?
It's Sarah from Lander and Rogers. Stephen, we've had a couple of questions come through, so I thought I would help you out and ask them, and any of the panelists feel free to jump in. So the first question, what are the biggest stumbling blocks for legal tech startups? What don't they know but think they know?
There's a lot we don't know. That you learn along the way, the mistakes you make, and learn from the experiences. But I think the biggest things for us is that the time and the cost to develop legal tech, you don't realize how much time and how much cost. And that can be quite difficult. For us, we had that benefit of the legal expertise and the tech expertise, and to build our business expertise through the support of Lander Rogers and YBF was great. But it's also like when you're bootstrapping, how are you going to get investment and those considerations, and that can take time as well. So I think that's been like a challenge, that mix of getting the investment and having the right combination of skill sets in legal tech and business. Secondly, as you then commercialize and sell the product, from a law firm perspective, it's that change management. I think lawyers, we're often perfectionists. We want to be able to know how to do everything perfectly, and we're a bit traditional in the way that we do things. So there is that change management piece required, and in that innovation mindset, and to realize with startups that that product will continue to enhance, but it may not be completely perfect in that first release. So they're the two main stumbling blocks from me, but maybe you can add to that, Stephen or Farley.
Farley, or do you want me to go?
Oh, you're on mute.
Oops, sorry, I'm unmuted now. Apologies. I guess I'll talk more generally that, some of the biggest stumbling blocks, and this goes to one of the other questions that I see up here, and I'll just paraphrase a question up here. We have an individual that, has a great idea, won second place at a hackathon in 2017, but hasn't been able to get to an MVP and hasn't been able to get the funding to help. I think funding is one of the biggest challenges that startups and scale-ups face. And to be honest with you, if you don't have the means to bootstrap, then really the best way in the early days is to look at friends and family that can help. And if your friends and family can't, it's trying to find a partner or a set of partners that do provide access to some initial capital. I think doing things like hackathons where there are prizes help as well, because even small amounts of money through hackathons can help get things kicked off. If your idea in general is really, really good, and you're out there talking to folks, you're likely to be able to find some partners. I mean, ultimately, it's a hard road, and it's not for the faint of heart, to be very, very honest. But it's a worthwhile journey. But I think the stumbling block again is really capital, getting momentum, and keeping that momentum. And that's more of a general one than a legal tech only.
And maybe to add to that point, what Farley also does, or people like Farley also do, is we reserve a few spots as part of our LawTech Hub program for really those access to justice and pro bono style of applicants. So there's that channel where we have previously supported. You might have seen Annika Legal on the video earlier, where we kind of offer them a bit of space, provide that guidance, provide not funding per se, but it really provide that assistance to really help you get off the ground. And that's potentially another channel you can kind of look at for similar issues. I hope that answered that question, and please add in if it's still unclear. Maybe I'll pass it back to Farley, maybe to talk a little bit about accelerators, incubators, what's what in this field, and I'm happy to take it on if you don't.
No, that's fine. I think there's a couple of questions I can answer in succession here. I know we're short on time. Accelerators and incubators absolutely have their place, and Stephen mentioned one of the biggest differences up front, which is typically, and this is not the case in all situations, but typically incubators and accelerators take up position in the company. So they tend to take a percentage of ownership, when we set up the LawTech Hub together, Lander and Rogers and YBF, it was really a values-based decision that we were not going to take a percentage. Lander and Rogers wasn't, and YBF wasn't, with the whole goal of really helping the ecosystem to thrive. And when companies succeed, it really helps everyone. And there's plenty of time to have negotiations around ownership at a later time and really have it based on performance rather than on, the potential of what could be. So I think that's the main difference. I think the other difference is that incubators and accelerators tend to be finite in time. And although we've talked about a 6-month cohort, Fiona has been part of the YBF Landers family, beyond the original 6 months. So, we have an alumni approach that folks can stay in the YBF space if they choose to, and even if they don't want to, they get to be involved with events. They can pick up the phone or Zoom or see us in person for advice. Pre-COVID, we did 400 events a year, and those things were meant to bring community together. One of the challenges in looking at the video we saw with an empty building is a building's a building's a building. And really what we're all about is creating a active community where things happen, because things happen with people. There's another question here.
Just to add to that, Farley, yeah, we've made that conscious decision to stay at YBF Sydney, to have that Sydney office presence. It's a great place because our team work remotely all around the Sydney area, but for the team to meet, and also we meet clients and have business meetings there, and then to plug in, like this week you're running an event on financial success as a startup, etc. We're coming along to that, and different events that you run really help us to continue to grow as a company beyond the official LawTech Hub. So that's been really good too.
Yeah, thanks. There's 2 more questions that appear to be pointed at me, so I'll just go through those as well. What is the difference you found working with legal world with hubs versus experience with other startups? I'm really not sure there is a big difference, to be honest. From 50,000 feet, startups and scale-ups have the same challenges. It's challenge around funding, it's challenge around resources, it's challenge around growth, it's challenge around, how do you operate nimbly in the startup and scale-up world, but integrate with corporates that are moving at slower speed. So these things are very common, whether it's retail or financial or legal or ag tech or anything else. So we go through some of the same challenges. It's about making opportunities and allowing companies that are subscale to help them scale as best possible. And again, I'm just conscious of time. The other question is that it says, with all due respect, Farley, I guess I avoided the real point of the question, which was the question around, getting funds to help a startup and moving to MVP. I guess the real question, and I certainly didn't mean to avoid it, was around how do we help with contacts that have a disability or are being passively excluded from opportunities. I don't know if I have a good answer, to be absolutely honest. There are certainly programs out there to help, but it's not easy under the best of circumstances. Certainly at YBF and at Lander and Rogers, we focus on being very, very inclusive, and that includes providing opportunities for those that either can't afford it. Both our YBF space and our Melbourne space have are accessible buildings, although there are some challenges in the historical side of the building in Melbourne. We have mental health is quite important to us, and enabling folks from all backgrounds and all abilities and all challenges to work together is really part of what we do. We're probably not perfect at it. I don't think anybody is. I think the question also talked about grants earlier, and some of the grants that are out there are grants that require you to spend $10 in order to get $5 back from the government, so to speak. YBF also looks at government help from time to time in grants, and we found that the matching fund grants are extremely difficult. What matching fund grants don't do is they actually don't reward a company for being efficient and doing things less expensively. They only award for actually spending money. But there are a lot of grants, not only in New South Wales, but in Victoria and at the federal level, that really help good technology and good startups, and especially the ones that provide opportunity or potential for jobs to get out there. The grant process is not easy under the best of circumstances. It takes a lot of effort to do them. And again, I'm not sure I fully answered the question, but I think that's the best I can offer right now. I don't know if, Stephen, you have any other, anything to add on that, or Fiona, you do as well.
I don't, but I think you might have covered it off, and please do continue the conversation with us if we haven't kind of nailed that on the head. I think we can only do what we know, and the more exposure you kind of raise to us, I think the better we can become educated and figure out a solution together. Maybe I'll take the next question on the line, just watching time. So how does beta testing work for the hub? Is it just with landers or others too? And how do you select others? So it's not exclusively with landers. I think landers do play a big part in a lot of the testing. So it kind of depends on the need and where the fit for the solution is, right? So in Fiona's case, she's made a product that's targeted to mediators and family lawyers, and that's where we focused a lot of our testing. There's others like Caseflow who are a little bit more targeted for us and like some of our insurance clients. So we kind of look at that pilot like jointly with some of our clients and bring that together. If I know there's a few others that have pitched and looked at using YBF or some of the YBF residents as some of that beta testing. So it really depends on the need of your company, but this is kind of immediately, first degree of access is all these points.
Yeah, just to add to that, Stephen, remember this term, we saw a need to really enhance the mediator version of family property. So we worked with you in looking at mediators in your network, as well as ours, who we could work with to get some feedback on the mediator version of the product. So that was really on testing that sort of version. So that was really helpful in not just lenders, but contacts of lenders and others to bring those people and organisations into meetings, etc. So that was our experience here.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that. Good. Any other questions? I think we I must highlight them all.
I think there's a question in the chat.
I think we highlight. Oh, is there?
Yeah.
The question is around for people interested in getting involved in the LawTech Hub, where can they find out more information? How can they reach out to yourself and others in your team?
Sarah, where do we go for this information?
Well, the Lander and Rogers website, which is landers.com.au, there's a tab up the top under innovation. There's a whole page on the LawTech Hub. So it's a really good starting point. It gives you information around our previous residents and what the LawTech Hub is all about and program inquiries. There's also links for you to apply for the LawTech. That's the best place. YBF's website also has some information, so either of those two are a good starting point.
I mean, I'll also offer to, please feel free to reach out to me directly. I think you find my contacts through the website, and happy to discuss more. Because I think that also ties into a little bit of the last agenda item on here is like what's next, right? So we are looking for applications and welcoming all the applicants. through the link. I just kind of sent email to all participants at landers.com.au, and we are looking for our next cohort. So if this is an area that interests you, you're excited, have a good idea, come talk to us about it, right? And we're looking for applicants all over, and not just restricted to Australia, but we're looking for applicants all over the world if you have a good idea, and we'll try not to discriminate against it. All right. Was there anything else in the chat that I missed?
No, I think that's all from the chat. Just to add to that, throughout COVID, obviously we had to transform our program from being quite in-house based at YBF in both Melbourne and Sydney, and we've now transformed that program so that it is run virtually, largely in essence. So it's really broadened up access to those who may not be based in either Sydney or Melbourne, who can now apply for the program, because we now have all the systems in place to be able to roll that out nationally and internationally. So don't be afraid to reach out.
Yeah, and I'll say that as well. Please feel free to contact me. Probably the easiest way is through LinkedIn. I'm happy to accept anybody's invite to connect. And if you want to reach out to the YBF team, it's ybfventures.com. And there's ample buttons to press to contact us, and we'll be in touch with you. If you want to come by and see us in Sydney and Melbourne, you happen to be in the area, please do so. We'd love to welcome you.
And if you would like, the in-look as to what our experience was like in the LawTech Hub, feel free to reach out to me. Or if you're a family law firm or mediator enterprise, feel free. I'd love to chat with you about how family property could assist your firm or organisation and do a demo, etc. So I've put my contacts in the chat as well. So keen to speak with you.
Thanks, Fiona. And also just to note that tomorrow at the same time, we'll be running a session on our Melbourne LawTech Hub, and we'll also be welcoming Sam from Joseph Legal. So please tune in if you're interested in learning more about our Melbourne Hub and Joseph's legal technology.
Great. So thank you everyone that joined. Thank you for all the great questions that come through. Farley, Fiona, Sarah, thank you for joining us. And I hope this was informative. Please reach out if you have additional questions and let us know.
Thanks, Stephen, Fiona and Farley and
Thanks.
Sarah. I just want to remind everyone that we've also recorded this session and it will be available via the on-demand program, and then it will also be available by video on the CLI and Outma websites after the event closes. And if you want to connect with Outma or CLI, use my roosters, please do so through LinkedIn, Facebook or Twitter.